Sophia adjusted the strap of her apron, forcing herself to smile at the customer sitting at the counter of the small downtown diner. It was nearly midnight, and her third shift of the day was only halfway done. Her body ached, her eyes burned with fatigue, and her legs felt as though they were made of lead. But she pushed forward, the way she always did. Because she didn't have a choice. At home, in their tiny apartment, her 5-year-old son Ethan was fast asleep. He was the reason she endured all this: the grocery store in the morning, the office cleaning in the afternoon, the diner at night. Every penny mattered. Rent, groceries, school supplies, the occasional doctor's bill, it all piled up. But when Ethan smiled, when he laughed and hugged her, when he said, "You're the best mommy in the world," it made everything worth it. What Ethan didn't know was that he had a father. A secret carried alone. Sophia hadn't planned to keep it from Daniel. 6 years ago, she had been a college student with dreams of building a career in marketing. That was when she met him, Daniel Carter, heir to the Carter Enterprises fortune and the newly appointed CEO after his father's sudden illness. He was everything she wasn't: wealthy, confident, driven. But when he looked at her, she felt seen, cherished, and alive. They fell into a whirlwind romance, the kind of love that made her believe in forever. But then she discovered she was pregnant. Sophia had tried to tell him. She went to his office once, heart pounding, rehearsing the words, "Daniel, I'm having your baby." But when she arrived, he was buried in paperwork, phones ringing, assistants running in and out. He barely glanced at her, his voice strained. "Sophia, not now, please, I can't deal with personal drama right now." Her throat had tightened. Those words rang in her ears for days. She left without telling him, though she later wrote a letter. She never knew if he got it, he never replied. So she raised Ethan alone. Fate brings him back. The bell above the diner's door jingled, pulling Sophia out of her memories. She glanced up, and her blood froze. Walking in, tall and striking in a tailored suit, was Daniel Carter. His presence was commanding, his expression sharp, but his eyes softened the moment they landed on her. "Sophia," he said slowly, disbelief clear in his tone. Her heart raced. "Daniel," she whispered. It was as though the years vanished, leaving only the raw wound between them. She tried to steady herself, reminding her hands to stop trembling as she pulled out a notepad. "What are you doing here?" he asked, still staring as though he couldn't believe she was real. She forced a polite smile. "Working. What can I get you tonight?" But Daniel wasn't ready to pretend this was just another transaction. "You disappeared, Sophia." No explanation. Why? She bit her lip, choosing silence. The past was too heavy to unwrap in the middle of a diner. A glimpse of the truth. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about her. After finishing his late meeting, he had stopped at the diner to grab a coffee, never expecting to see the woman who had once meant everything to him. The exhaustion on her face, the faded uniform, the way her shoulders sagged with weariness, it all gnawed at him. Why had she vanished? His questions only grew when he saw her walking down a dimly lit street after her shift, heading to a modest apartment complex. Curiosity, mixed with something deeper, compelled him to follow. When she opened the door, a small boy rushed out, rubbing his eyes. "Mommy, you're home." Daniel's breath caught. The boy looked exactly like him, same dark hair, same dimple when he smiled sleepily, the same sharp chin. He staggered forward, voice raw. "Sophia, is he mine?" Her silence was answer enough. The confrontation. Daniel's emotions crashed over him. Anger, hurt, disbelief. "Why didn't you tell me?" His voice shook. "Why did you keep my son from me?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Because you weren't ready. You told me yourself that you couldn't handle personal drama." "I tried, Daniel. I tried to tell you. I even wrote you a letter. You never replied." His chest ached as the memory came back. Those chaotic days when his father was on his deathbed, when he had been thrust into running the empire overnight. He remembered brushing her off, too overwhelmed to realize the damage of his words. "You should have fought harder," he whispered. And risked rejection again, risked raising him in a world where his father didn't want him. Her voice cracked. "I chose to protect him." A father's first meeting. Daniel looked at the boy, Ethan. His son. He knelt, his voice trembling. "Hi, buddy, I'm your dad." Ethan tilted his head curiously. "My dad, Mommy, I thought it was just us." Sophia's heart broke at the innocence in his voice. Daniel swallowed hard. I'm sorry I wasn't here before. But I promise I'll never leave again. Ethan blinked at him, then smiled shyly. Do you like dinosaurs? I have lots of them. A laugh burst from Daniel's lips, half choked with tears. I'd love to see them. In that instant, Sophia saw something in Daniel's eyes, something she hadn't dared to believe in for years. Genuine love. The struggle of trust. The days that followed were complicated. Daniel showed up often, eager to be part of Ethan's life. He bought him toys, helped with school runs, and even cooked dinner, though he nearly burned the pasta the first time. Ethan adored him quickly, climbing onto his lap, calling him Dad, as if the word had always belonged to him. For Sophia, it wasn't so simple. She had built walls out of necessity, brick by brick, during the years of exhaustion and loneliness. Seeing Daniel slip so easily into Ethan's life made her ache with both relief and fear. You can't just walk back into our lives and expect me to forget the last 5 years, she told him one night, her arms crossed. Daniel nodded. I don't want you to forget. I want to make up for them. Let me earn your trust. His sincerity disarmed her, but the scars ran deep. A shift in their lives. Slowly, life began to change. Daniel insisted Sophia didn't need 3 jobs anymore. At first, she resisted, her pride bristled at the idea of being rescued. But when he offered her a position in the marketing department at Carter Enterprises, one that matched her degree, she realized it wasn't charity. It was an opportunity to rebuild the future she had once dreamed of. She took the job, and with it, she gained time to be with Ethan, time to breathe, time to remember who she was outside of survival. The small apartment was soon filled with laughter, with Ethan showing his dad his drawings, with Daniel reading him bedtime stories. And in those moments, Sophia began to see not the cold CEO, not the man who had once unknowingly broken her, but the Daniel she had fallen in love with, the man who could make her laugh with a single look, who carried her son on his shoulders like the world's greatest treasure. A new beginning. One evening, as they tucked Ethan into bed, Daniel lingered beside her in the quiet living room. Sophia, he said softly, I can't change the past. But I can promise you this, I will never let either of you go again. I want to build a life with you. Both of you. Her eyes shimmered with tears. Do you mean it? Because if you break his heart, I'll never forgive you. Daniel took her hand gently, pressing it to his chest. I swear, Ethan is my son, and you've always been the love I lost. I don't want to lose you again. For the first time in years, Sophia felt the crushing weight lift. She had carried everything alone for so long. Now, maybe, she didn't have to anymore. She leaned into him, her voice barely a whisper. Then don't. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by the soft hum of their son's steady breathing, Sophia allowed herself to hope, for a future not defined by struggle, but by love. Sophia pulled the elastic of her apron tighter, forcing her tired body to keep moving as the night shift rolled on in the diner. Her third job of the day, and her body screamed for rest, but rest wasn't an option. Rent was due in a week, Ethan needed new shoes for school, and her electricity bill had come with a red stamp across the top, final notice. Her son, Ethan, was 5 years old. Bright-eyed, curious, and unfailingly kind, he was her anchor. Every time exhaustion threatened to crush her, she thought of him, his small hands clutching hers, his voice asking for another bedtime story, his little giggle that made the world seem brighter. But beneath all her love for him was the secret she had carried alone. Ethan's father had no idea he existed. The ghost of yesterday. 6 years ago, Sophia had been a college junior working part-time at a bookstore when she met Daniel Carter. He was magnetic, confident, ambitious, heir to Carter Enterprises, and newly thrust into leadership after his father's illness. He made her feel alive in a way no one else had. Late-night talks about dreams, afternoons spent walking in the park, kisses that made her believe in forever. He was her first real love. But when she discovered she was pregnant, everything changed. Sophia tried to tell him. She stood outside his office once, heart pounding with the words on her lips, Daniel, you're going to be a father. But when she walked in, she found him surrounded by chaos, papers stacked high, phones ringing, his secretary hovering with urgent messages. When she tried to speak, he snapped without looking up, Sophia, not now. I can't deal with personal drama right now. The words sliced her heart open. She walked out, crushed. Later, she wrote him a letter, pouring out everything. She never received a reply. So she raised Ethan alone. An unwelcome reunion. The bell above the diner door jingled, and Sophia turned automatically. The sight made her freeze. Daniel Carter walked in, tall and commanding in a tailored suit, his presence impossible to ignore. He hadn't changed much, still sharp, still magnetic, but his expression softened the second he saw her. "Sophia?" he asked, voice disbelieving. Her throat went dry. "Daniel." For a moment, the air was heavy with everything unsaid. She forced herself to smile politely and grabbed her notepad. "What can I get you tonight?" But Daniel wasn't about to let it go. His eyes lingered on her tired face, the weary slump of her shoulders. "What are you doing here? Why did you disappear?" She held her breath. "It was a long time ago, Daniel. Let's not do this here." Yet fate had other plans. Part 2, The Truth Revealed. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about her. The Sophia he remembered had been bright and full of life. Now she looked exhausted, burdened, hiding something. He followed her after her shift, guilt and curiosity battling inside him. When she unlocked the door to a small apartment, a boy rushed out, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Mommy, you're home," the child said, hugging her leg. Daniel's world stopped. The boy had his dark hair, his sharp jawline, even the same dimple that appeared when he smiled sleepily. He staggered forward, his voice breaking. "Sophia, is he mine?" Her silence was enough. The confrontation. Anger surged inside him. "Why didn't you tell me? Why did you keep my son from me?" Tears filled her eyes. "Because you weren't ready. You told me yourself. I can't handle personal drama." "I tried, Daniel. I even wrote you a letter. You never answered." His chest ached as the memory crashed back, the chaos after his father's illness, the crushing responsibility. He remembered brushing her off, not realizing those words had pushed her away for good. "You should have given me a chance," he whispered. "I couldn't risk it," she said, voice trembling. "I had to protect him from being unwanted." A father's first moment. Daniel knelt, looking at the boy. "Hi, I'm your dad." The child, Ethan, blinked curiously. "My dad." Daniel's throat tightened. "Yes, I'm so sorry I wasn't here before. But I promise I'll never leave you again." Ethan studied him for a long moment before smiling. "Do you like dinosaurs? I have a lot." Daniel let out a shaky laugh, tears threatening. "I'd love to see them." Sophia's heart clenched. For years she had carried the weight of raising Ethan alone. Now, for the first time, she saw the man who should have been beside her all along. The hard road forward. The days that followed weren't easy. Daniel showed up constantly, helping with school, reading bedtime stories, trying to make up for lost years. Ethan adored him quickly, but Sophia struggled. "You can't just walk back in and erase the past," she told him one night. "I don't want to erase it," Daniel said quietly. "I want to make things right. For him, for us." Slowly, her walls began to crack. Daniel offered her a job in the marketing department of his company, a role that matched her degree. At first, she resisted, pride bristling at the idea of being rescued. But it wasn't pity, it was belief in her talent. She accepted, and for the first time in years, she only had one job, with time to spend with Ethan. Their small apartment filled with laughter, Ethan showing Daniel his drawings, Daniel teaching him to ride a bike, the three of them sharing dinners without the looming stress of unpaid bills. A new promise. One night, after Ethan had fallen asleep, Daniel looked at Sophia with raw sincerity. "I can't change that I wasn't there. But I can be here now. Sophia, I want to build a family, with you, with Ethan. Please, let me try." Her eyes filled with tears. "Do you mean it? Because if you break his heart, I'll never forgive you." Daniel took her hand gently. "I swear, he's my son, and you've always been my love. I won't lose you again." Sophia hesitated, then let herself lean into him, the weight she had carried for so long finally easing. For the first time in years, she believed a new beginning was possible.